Hello and welcome back to the channel. So last episode we got our large ember and we will be giving it to Andre shortly, and we're going to upgrade our Murakumo to plus 10. Okay, so if you remember a few episodes ago we did our farming, we got our large titanite. So we got the materials needed to do our upgrade.
Ember you have there. I could smith some mighty weapons with
Mighty fine, Andre.
Why not lend it to me?
Sure you can. I'll give it to you. Once you upgrade my weapons and my armor. Okay. So we've given it to him. Now we can see weapons ready for ascension. So there we go. Our plus 5 Murakumo. We can now upgrade it to plus 6 and beyond. So it goes all the way up to plus 10 before we need the other ember to upgrade it further. If we want, we could upgrade the scimitar, but we are not going to at this time. So there's your divine raw. So this is where most of your weapons that you have upgraded to plus 5, you can then move them up. Once you have the large ember, it can then go on plus 6 all the way up to plus 10. Okay. Nope, someone has kindled the bonfire. That is what that sound is. And that little flicker of light, that is when someone kindles the bonfire within your world, or within, I would say, someone that's in one of the servers that you are in. Okay, so there's the Murakumo. Upgraded all the way. As you can see, we had enough large titanite. We had about 14. So we have enough large titanite to do our full upgrade. We only need 9 at this point. Okay, so I think I'm gonna upgrade the falchion because I want to make a divine weapon, but that will become apparent later on as we go through Lordran and other surrounding areas. It's good to have a divine weapon for the catacombs, and it's going to be used in the fight with Nito. Okay, so yeah, we upgrade that. Then we put it to divine. Yep, so we have a divine falchion. Okay. Okay, so at this point, yeah, I've only got 1 green titanite, which is fine. Don't need it too powerful, but that will do for now. Just repair my weapon and armor. Okay. Right, so today I think what we'll be doing is we'll be going down to the new Londo Ruins. This is where we'll be taking on a few enemies, interesting enemies in there. And the purpose of it is so that we can obtain the very large ember so that we can move our weapon up the upgrade scale. Okay. Okay, let's just equip. Just plug. Yeah. There we go. Fire falchion back on. Okay. So as we move up and we upgrade, our weapon becomes much stronger. And with our current stats, you will start seeing this is where the fire Murakumo starts dropping off compared to the regular Murakumo. Okay, because the fire one has no further scaling, you will have to wait until you get your chunks if you want to upgrade that further. However, the normal Murakumo will do much more damage because your scaling and strength would be greater than what the fire would offset in that regard. Okay, so before we go down into New Londo, there is something I'd like to pick up. At the merchant, we need to get a few poison arrows. Poison arrows will become apparent because we'll be using it to take out the sealer that's down in New Londo in order for us to get the item that we need to get the ember. We have to do a few things first in order to get that ember. It's not as straightforward or simple. Well, it is simple to a degree, but okay. Yeah, make sure to get me poison arrows. Poison arrows are always useful. They always come in handy. As you can poison out some of the enemies if you don't want to approach a whole lot of them.
Oh, there you are, dear.
Poison them out slowly. Okay, so usually I only get about 30. Don't need any more than that, unless I'm doing something specific. At this point, I just need 30 for what I need to do. But that's more than enough. Okay. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. Just get some wooden arrows. I think I've got enough. But the wooden arrows are quite cheap.
Come again, if you please.
You can get a whole lot. Now, I'm not doing a bow build, so I'm not too bothered about the arrows I use. It's just used to pull enemies or to, get them out of a quick bind if I needed to, but other than that, it's not a bow build focus. Okay. Take these guys out as they're blocking my exit. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we're just going to rest at the bonfire, and then we'll proceed down to the New Londo Ruins. Okay. So if you notice, I haven't really leveled up in a while. It's not too important for me right now. At this level I can go through the whole game practically. I don't need to, However, I will put a few more points where I need them. So at this point I see a lot of people invest in HP, which is good, don't get me wrong, it's good to have a lot of HP. However, at this early stage you're just going to be, especially if you're new to Dark Souls, you're just going to be dying a lot. And yeah, the extra HP it's a good buffer because you can get, it means that you wouldn't die straight, you wouldn't die in, 2 hits, or you wouldn't be one-shotted that easily unless you meet an enemy that is really powerful. But early game, it's You know, you don't have that to you shouldn't have that to worry about. Mind you, if you're playing this blind, of course you don't know all these mechanics, so you will play a game very differently. Okay, so I'll just put on my transient curse there, which allows us to interact with these ghosts and makes our journey a bit easier. Okay. I have died so many times in this area. It's the least light area. This and Blight Town. Okay, so what I like to do here is just pull the ghost forward, because that in there is an ambush. So just get rid of this one out of the way. So what you do, you move forward slowly so that you don't get too overwhelmed. As you can see, it's gone back in its original placement. Here he comes again. Sheep instead of a female. Why? Yeah, they come in here. There you go. That room, the whole room is an ambush in itself, so just be aware of that. Come on. Oh, no. Cheers, game. Here we go again, round 2. So you want to bring the ghosts out. Now we can deal with the rest of them. Okay. See, so it makes it, you know, in itself, the game is not hard. I would not say it's hard. It's just you have to think strategy. How you're going to move ahead. How you're going to get ahead. A room full of enemies. What you're going to do. You don't just run in and rush everything and just keep swinging and hoping. You have to have some sort of plan or some sort of objective. How you're going to approach this. I guess it's the same in life. So usually I like to take this particular ghost out because that's a soul item. So you want to collect all items. Many are not aware of that ghost above there. So they go to pick up the item and then they get ambushed by that ghost at the top. So at this point you don't have to worry about your transient curse. It lasts quite a while, I think about 12 to 15 minutes, I think. As you can see, I have a slight whitish glow around me. I like to keep the item bar that the transient curse is on, because as you can see, it's dark and it's faded out now, which means it's still active. So when that becomes light, it means you have to reapply a fresh one. Okay. Back and take them out. The ghosts are not hard. Okay, and there is the large ember in that chest. But it's not easy to get across there. We have to do a few things before we can get there. One of the things being draining that water. And once we drain the water, then the real fun begins. Because you'll see shortly that in the water there is, you know, dark rays. So we take that one out. Now that scream attracts the other ghosts. So for those who are not aware, just be aware, if we can get to her before she screams, you can really limit the amount of ghosts that she calls. But because I've taken out most of them in that area, her call will go unheeded. See, I got to the item and not a problem. Okay, so this is a little shortcut. It's good to kick the ladder down. Now down here, there's just 2 of them. So I like to take them out. And as you can see, the game gives you extra transient curse. So you play your cards right, you should have enough transient curse to get through this area. Okay. So the reason I took those 2 out down there is because when you're running up here, they will be poking their knives up at you. And you don't want them interfering with what you have to do next, which, as you can see, this is what I need the poison arrows for. Now, normally, if you're playing the normal way, or which is go and get the Lord Vessel and all that, then he will give you the key. But because we haven't done the Lord Vessel as yet, if we go up there now, he will not give us the key. And it's easier just to poison him out down here because he's a sorcerer at the end of the day, and he is quite strong early game. So he could give you a bit of problems if you're not used to his attacks and his spells and so on. So this is one of the easier, more efficient ways, I would say, to take him out, and you still get the item. Okay, even though he's up there, the game automatically gives you the item. Okay, so as you can see, the transient curse runs out. I'm going to apply another one just in case, because the next area I'm going through has a lot of them as well. Okay. So straight ahead it's broken, but you can jump if you're those who are confident enough. But I just show the normal way. That's the normal way you come through. At this point, I'm just going to ignore the rest of them, because I don't need to fight them. Okay, all I needed was to get through that area. And we're going to come back there shortly. Before, let me just pick up a particular item I like. On most of my builds, I always pick this up because it's quite useful. So there's the composite bow. Now this bow scales with strength. The only downside is it has a very short range, but it is quite good in sort of close combat. You know, you can pull it out, and if you have enough strength, as you can see, I have a lot of strength, so I will do a lot more damage. Okay, so now we're going to drain New Londo. I like this cutscene. Just take a screen picture of that using my thumbnails. So that empties out into the Valley of Drakes. So for those who pay attention, they will realize, they will know exactly where they are at. And if they came up against that gate from the other side, they will know. Now they will know what the link is. Okay. Let's take that off. Okay. Right, so for this part, this is why I like my Peter shield as well. It's more, it's lightweight, so. And I like to equip the shield only because I'm dealing with the dark rates. Their moves are somebody moves are quick, and they can really catch you out if you're not careful. But I expect I'll die at some point because they can use some of their moves. So if you're at a distance from them, that running attack that's what you want them to do. It's easier to deal with. They have a few other moves that they do. That is like a strong attack that can. Now this is the move that catches me out a lot of times. I know I'm a bit rusty, so expect a few deaths. take him out. So they are scattered all around this area, those dark rates. Okay, so once we drain it, now we have those to contend with. So for those who play in Dark Souls, who have played it, who are veterans at it, they will know they are in this area. Now those enemies, those dark rates, they are the ones I'm going to be farming shortly for Titanite chunks. Okay, because the game do not give you those chunks early unless you take these sort of steps to get it. And this is why I'm taking all these steps, so that I can get some chunks as well as get the very large ember to upgrade my weapon. So there's one just there. That's why I'm very cautious moving around here. There he is. In early game, as you can see, they can do a lot of damage to you. If you don't have enough poise and so on, they take you out very easily, very quickly. Nope, didn't drop anything. Oh well. So in here we have a group of them. So be very careful coming in here for the first time. Because if you're not aware of where the enemy placements are, you're going to end up in a whole heap of trouble. That's not what you want. No, second one didn't drop anything. Or third one, I should say. Right, so to my left is another one there. But there is that blob. I like to call it a blob. But it's behind me now. And that is what spawns the explosive skulls. Now be careful, this has quite a few attacks on it. Yeah, as you can see the poking attack, and it hits with quite a range. Okay. See, there it goes. So it spawns those exploding skulls. Okay, so I like to trigger them, get them out of the way if you can. Because you don't want, when you're fighting him, that it's exploding close to you, because it will do a lot of damage to you if they one-shot you if you don't have enough health. So there he is. So 5,000 souls he drops, which is quite good. It's a pity you can't farm them. They are one-time spawn, so they only spawn one time, and after they die, they don't respawn. Okay. Right, so where we have to go for the large ember is straight ahead, but we're not going to go there just yet, because I want to pick up a few chunks first and then do that after. Okay. So I remember where the placements of these enemies are, that's why I'm moving a little bit cautiously. There you go. You always want to try and bait them into that running attack. Here we go. Yeah, chunks. That's what we need. Okay, so there's a humanity here. And that way is where the very large ember is, in the chest at the top that we had seen before. But before I do that, I just want to go and pick up a few more chunks. So I'm going this way. Now that the water is drained, let's open up areas. There you go. Take him out. Okay. An illusionary wall. So we want to get to that chest behind him. There's a chest behind him with a titanite chunk in it. We want that. The best way to do is to pull him out here. deal with him out here. Oh my word. See? So I got stun locked and that was it. That's the end of me for now. So back again. This time I'm going to play it a bit safer and pull him all the way out here. That way I have a bit more room fighting. So that's their shield or the dark hand, which you can also get. Quite a cool effect, looks cool. So now I'm going to pick the chunk up that's in the chest here that he was guarding. So all I would say is when coming through this area, just take your time. The thing is with Dark Souls, you don't need to rush it. Take your time. Get what you have to get, do what you have to do. If you can help it, you don't want to be doing it 3 and 4 times. But these things happen, especially if you're playing it for the first time and you're not aware of these mechanics. Then you're going to run into difficulty like that. It's easy to misjudge sometimes. So I say if you pay attention, you can make it a bit easier for yourself. Now another thing I should point out with these dark raids, farming them, is that you can, besides the Titanite chunk, you can also get the occasional slab. So I'm just gonna just apply the transient curse there. Reason being, there is 3 ghosts in here that I just want to get out of the way so that they don't interfere with when I'm fighting it. So that's what I do. Okay. So you still take the hit. So now you're free and clear of those ghosts in there. Now you want to pull the dark raid out. More chunk. Okay. So there's floating mass. Be careful not to get hit by that because that slows you down and it takes away some of your, I think it affects your stamina as well. So you just want to be careful. As you can see, the fire does more damage to these things, which is why I choose to get a fire weapon early. So he's not too much trouble, just take your time, get him out of the way before I proceed, because there's another dark raid in here that we have to deal with. So you see, once you clear the enemies out, it makes it a lot easier to see. You can stop and appreciate and take in the environment. So we got a chunk, and then in this chest, it's another chunk. As you can see, this first run we're accumulating quite a few chunks. Now, sometimes the farm itself, if you're farming them, it could take some time. So that fog gate that we just saw there, that is where the boss is. Again, you can't just go in there because you need a certain item in order to traverse the abyss, which we'll get the item in another episode later on. So you can imagine taking on these dark rays in here and the ghosts as well. it is so easy to get overwhelmed. And this is what we have to be careful of. Okay, and that is why I play the way I play. So there we go, we got the Dark Hand as well. Okay. Just bring it up. So for those who want to see what the Dark Hand is all about. So that was the parrying dagger that we picked up earlier on. Used for parrying, quite good actually. If you want to learn to parry. That and the buckler shield, or the hard leather shield, or smaller shield. So with this, we cannot parry with this, unfortunately. Okay, so you can use it as a shield, but that's about it. Okay, so for those who want to read it, you can pause the screen at any time and have a read of the lore. Learn a bit about the Dark Raids and about Kath and all that good stuff. If you really want to learn about the lore, you can go and watch some of Vati videos. His videos on lore, they are quite extensive and they explain a lot. So yes, yeah. I know FromSoft storytelling can seem quite obscure at times, but you just have to interpret it how you interpret it. So now we're going to just pick up the very large ember. So that way takes us back up to the first area that we first came in when we came up this first set of steps, first flight of stairs. That is where that takes us back up to. Okay, so if you're coming from the other angle, that's where you just pick up this soul item here. There you go. So yeah, it's always good to learn things, and I'm always learning in Dark Souls. In all the years playing it, over the years playing it, I can't say that, you know, I've learned everything. There's still something that, you know, I may have missed, that I can still learn or I can still get better at. And that's the beauty about it. So there we go, we've got the very large ember. Now we're going to take it back to Andre.
Well, I'll be. That's a brilliant ember you've got there. For all my years in the trade, that might be the finest. How's about you leave that ember with me? I'm just an old smith. I'd give my left arm for a gem like that. Well,
Yep, so we go ahead and give it to him.
Mightily for that. Now, just leave the rest to me. Andre of Astora gets the job done. You shall see.
Now you see, Murakumo, we can take it up to plus 11 and beyond. So the maximum it can go is plus 15. So I'm going to use a few chunks. That is what we needed the chunks for. So now we just need a titanite slab. Okay. See, now the Murakumo. Physical damage with the extra bonus of upgrading our level in strength. You can see it adds on quite a lot for the parameter bonus. And as I said before, that is where you're going to see the fire weapon starts dropping off now when it comes to compared to the damage of the normal
Don't get
Murakumo.
yourself killed.
Okay.
Neither of us want to see
But
you go
you can still
hollow.
increase the fire damage if you want. You know, you can still increase it. You just need the red titanite chunks to increase it on a red slab. But you can get those later on in the game once you have access to Lost Isolith. Okay. I'm just going to explore a few areas now quickly while I collect a few things before we move on. There we go, take these out. Right, so we're going to proceed now. It's sort of all backwards. Okay, so that's a halberd for those who want a halberd. Normally if you come the other way, the opposite way, it's a good weapon. But it can leave you open if you do a wide swing and you miss. It can leave you quite open to attack, so just be aware. Right, so I need this key because I want to open the door on the other side of the bridge. Okay. So how I deal with these enemies here, there's the boar, is I like to equip my bow and some arrows. And this is where I like the composite bow. Because that's short range. See? Catch him before he catches me. So there's one enemy, this guy here we like to take out because he can come and put the gate down. Normally if you come in from the opposite side of these enemies, he will run off and he will come in here to close this gate, which then locks you out of the shortcut here. And then you have to go the long way. Oh, come on, mister. So then you have to go the long way to get in here. So as you can see the boy, he comes all the way up. I like to drag him in here just so I can heal. Take him on. Backstab and that's it. Okay. Oh, Fangball helm. Good helm for those who want it. Have it. So many people like this helm. I particularly have played around with it in early Dark Souls. Played around with it, but it is what it is. Looks cool and all, but not for me. Not in this particular build. See, it looks cool. Yeah. It's not too heavy. So that's that. Right, so moving on. Just take that off. So I'm just going to take this other guy out. Okay, there's another boulder knight just around the corner here to our right. We're just going to walk up quietly behind him and take him out. Yep. Chunk. Okay. bell again. Somebody has reached the gargoyles. Okay, so if the gate is closed, then you have to go down these stairs and through that path to get to the other side. Okay. Hollow shield. It's alright, solid shield. So I'm just gonna avoid him for now until I take this guy out. Don't want to interfere with the fight. It's good when you have a fire weapon, as it can bypass the shields. Because most shields, if they don't have a good fire defense, it's easy. There he goes. Yep. And there we go, the alluring skulls. Okay. Now there's a trick, you can chuck one of the alluring skulls in the fire there and the ball. He will end up trying to get at it and end up getting burned to death. So a little top tip for those who are having problems with him. Okay, so up there's a Black Knight that we'll be taking on later on. But before we do that, I just want to go around and open that other gate down there, that big gate. So then it takes us to the fire altar. Okay, which is where if you want to become a Sunbro, that is where you go to join the Sunbro Covenant. Okay. So move quietly. Because you don't want to fight him on the sledge, because sometimes he can end up jumping off, or the lock-on can kill him. Because he falls off and you lock on and it pulls you over. Sometimes that has happened to me many times in the past. And that's how I learned when to lock on and when not to lock on. So although it's good to lock on to enemies, but sometimes there are certain instances where the lock-on can kill you. Can end up causing you to, because you end up following the enemy down. Okay, so down here is just a shortcut. Just gonna open that shortcut to that bonfire from Undead Bird all the way up. Okay. So you notice I didn't rest at the bonfire because I don't want to spawn down there if I die. So I don't have the dragon to worry about. Makes life a bit easier for me. I can take these guys out and I'll have to worry about the dragon overhead. There we go. So before we do that, as you can see, that's the spot where usually the dragon. These are clues, visual cues that people can use. So that's the key that I picked up. And this is the way you'd normally come if you're taking it. See? Fogate is there because I haven't taken him on as yet. Okay. But you can't go through from this way anyway, so don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. Out here we have Mr. Solaire of the Sunbro Covenant.
Ah, hello. I am so now that I am undead. I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. Do you find that strange? Mm-hmm. Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
Very funny character. Useful in some fights, and sometimes he can be useless also. So just be aware. Just take a screenshot. Yeah, take off the mask so we can get a better shot. Yeah. So, may use it in my thumbnail.
Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment. The way
At least
I
take me
see
out to
it,
dinner
our
first.
fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey? This pleases me greatly.
Okay, so just answer yes
Well
to
then,
all
take
those.
this. We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind. Oh, hello there. I will stay behind to gaze at the sun. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
So, that's all there. Okay, now what he's referring to is he's given us the white soapstone, and we use that for summoning or being summoned. Okay, so there are 3 soapstones in this game. You have the white soapstone, you have the orange soapstone, which is for leaving messages, and then you have the red soapstone for PvP. If you want to be summoned into someone's world to PvP with them. Okay. Now, an interesting tip with the white summon stone is if you do not belong to the Sunbro Covenant, your summon sign when you put it down will be white. However, once you become a warrior of sunlight or Sunbro, your sign then changes to a goldish, yellowish, orangish color. Okay, so that's what he means when he says that, you know, if you can't see his brilliant aura of a sign, then he must be blind because it really stands out. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go back up because I'm not going to continue into Undead Berg just yet. There's nothing I need down there right now, which is why I'm heading back up. But from time to time we may revisit other areas that we have been, if I remember certain items that I want or certain items that I need for my build or for my character that I think would be useful to have, then I will go and get the item. Sometimes I may show it on screen, sometimes I may not. Okay. But if you want to see a particular item that I haven't shown, don't be afraid to leave it in the comment, and in probably one of the the other episodes, once I see the comment, I will then show where that location of that item is, things like that. Okay, so this is the gate, this is the other side that we are at. Okay, so this is the Sunlight Altar, and this is where you join the Sunbro Covenant. Okay, so you have to have 24 fate or a certain amount of, if I remember, is the sunlight medals, and the way to accumulate them quickly is to do a lot of boss fights or be summoned into someone's world that is a sunbro, and you can get sunlight medals. Another way to get sunlight medals is if you have Izalith open through the Demon Ruins. You go down, you can farm. There's those creatures down there that you can farm for those, but that again, that is more advanced game techniques that you can use, advanced farming methods. Okay, now I know most of you are not gonna get there early game, so I will show that at another point in the playthrough. Casual walkthrough, I should say. Okay, so there we have Black Knight Greatsword. Very good weapon. Very solid weapon, but as you can see, the stats are high. 32 strength, 18 dex. And it scales with dex, so there you see. You can read the lore in it. Just pause the screen and you can have a read. Played around with this weapon a few times before, but it's a bit slow. However, it has a few good attacks, like the the rolling poking attack and things like that. But again, it's whoever is using the weapon, how effective they find it and how they want to use it. Okay. So as I said before, there's no such thing as a bad weapon. It's just how you choose to use it. Now, if you're the type of individual that just want to run in and swing and as quickly as you can, then obviously this is not the weapon for you. But if you want to do solid damage, then yeah, I would recommend this weapon. It takes a little use getting to learning how to use the move set and getting used to the move set, but pretty straightforward. Once you get the move set down and you understand how the weapon works, you use it to your advantage. So yeah, try it out if you get it. But I know most players early game, they would not have the requirements early on. You can grind out and get the sword and level up, to get your 32 strength and 18 dex. This is where your starting class comes into play, because if you plan what weapon you're going to use, then you will know how to build out your character. So you get your, once you have an idea of what build you're going to do, then you level up your character accordingly, and it's good to your starting class.
Well, I see you made it out.
Have most of the stats that you need to level up.
I made it out safely too. I have my pyromancy of the Great Swamp, so I can usually manage with a bit of care. Oh yeah, by the way, I can share my spells with you. I think you have a knack for it. All you need are the materials. I'll be pleased to help you. And unless you find the magic's unsavory. Yeah, wonderful. I'm sure that they'll be of some use, some assistance. Here, first take this. A flame from the Great Swamp. Now you're a fully fledged pyromancer. Why, let's get started right now.
Okay, so it's Lauren Shears that we rescued in the last episode. Okay, and make sure and answer no if you don't find the magic unsavory. Because most people don't understand the question and they answer yes, and then you don't give them the hand. So if you're not a pyromancer, your starting class is not a pyromancer, this is how you can get the pyromancy flame and start using pyromancy. So I'm going to be using a few things. So I'll upgrade my pyromancy hand, pyromancy flame I should say. Okay, so later on it gets a bit more expensive to level it up. But I like pyromancy. It's quite useful if you know how to play around with it. It's only fitting if we have a fire weapon that we have a bit of pyromancy.
Produce flame, then channel it, just as our ancestors did. A pyromancer must be in tune with nature herself. My home, the Great Swamp, is an abundant store of nature. You will understand one day. It only takes time.
Yeah.
Goodbye then. Come back if you find anything new.
Okay. So we will be coming back to him. Because we'll get a few more bits from him. We're going to be upgrading the pyromancy hand a little bit. Okay. So we can trigger another event, but that's for later game. Okay. So as you can see, physical and fire. There we go. So I'm going to think what I'll do for the next episode is just equip the pyromancy we just bought. So you can see we have 2 pyromancies. Poison mist. Yep, so we're gonna equip that. So I would like to have the poison mist. I think what I'm going to do is leave it here for now, because this episode is going on a bit. So next episode what we'll look at is getting the Titanite slab and confronting a few bosses. Okay, so thanks for watching. Do join us again and see you in the next episode.